The Nigerian Shippers Council, but this time they are in collaboration with the National Judicial Institute. They are set to host the 16th edition of the International Maritime Seminar for Judges. The event begins tomorrow, the 5th, and it lasts till Thursday, the 7th. We will have to whet our appetite towards this. Mr. Emmanuel Jime, he's the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Shippers Council, joins us from our Abuja studio. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show, Mr. Jime. Well, this is the 16th edition. Now, you're supposed to have this 16th edition in 2020, but I mean, we all know that 2020 can now be comfortably termed the year of the pandemic. But
COVID year.
Yeah, but I mean, you've had 15 editions before now. Tell us the impact that this has had over time that should make us look forward to this 16th edition. Sorry about that.
Well, once again, thank you so much, Janet, for giving us this very important platform. A platform that we will now be able to use to inform the viewing public, both local and internationally, of the Maritime, International Maritime Series, which I can now say is back. As you noted in your intro, the last edition held in 2018. It is biennial, which is to say that it's a program that holds every 2 years, but we were not able to hold it in 2020 because of COVID. So I'm happy to announce that this year, the seminar, Maritime Seminar Series is back. The program will kickstart this evening with a cocktail dinner that will be hosted by the Honorable, the Chief Justice of the Federation, who will be hosting his colleagues who are coming from all over the continent and indeed from far-flung places of the globe to be attending at this particular seminar series. That cocktail dinner is holding at the foyer of the Supreme Court this evening. That officially will be the kickstarting of the program. Then tomorrow is actually the day when the program will actually officially commence. Then, of course, we're going to have top experts in the field of maritime practice, lawyers, and indeed all stakeholders who have an interest in the development of the maritime and the maritime sector. That it will be the beginning of our program, which I indicated will start tomorrow. Let me just give a little background, if you permit, on the conceptualization, if I may use the word, of the series. So first, the maritime transport actually constitutes a whopping 95% of international trade. Now, if you put that in context, that begins to give you an indication of, the monumental impact that this sector has on every nation's economy, and of course, certainly on the Nigerian economy as well. That being the case, it has become necessary that we are concerned about the viability of the sector, because this is a sector that generates revenues in the trillions, and of course offers huge employment opportunity to Nigerians and indeed all over the globe. There are key drivers, for the viability of the legal, of the sector. One of which is, of course, the legal framework that is in place. Now, what that means is that there is a need to have a clarity as far as the legal regime that is in place in every clime is concerned. Business, as you all know, will never go to a place where there is lack of clarity. And as far as the legal framework and the legal regime of any jurisdiction is concerned, unless there is a clarity or purpose so everybody that wants to do business in our climb is very well advised and very well informed. You're not likely going to attract, the sort of business interest that your nation may wish to present. So those of us who studied law back in the 80s will recall that the maritime law was not actually part of the syllabus of universities back in the days. And I think as recent as even the late 90s, we haven't had a situation where maritime law has been offered as a course in any of our Nigerian universities. That being the case, it then means that there was a gap in knowledge as far as the adjudication of maritime matters and maritime cases was concerned. The Shippers Council, in the exercise of its mandate as port economic regulator, and also, of course, basically a protector of shippers, identified this gap, and back in 1995, went out and stretched a hand of fellowship to the National Judicial Institute, where we then began collaborating as far back as 1995 to institute this international maritime seminar series. That actually was the background, and that was the reason why this particular series was actually conceptualized. So that's actually the background, and I thought I should be able to lay that as so we can actually introduce the maritime series, so people are appreciative of why was it necessary in the first place for us to conceive this. Now, as I said, the Nigerian Shippers Council is working in collaboration with the Nigerian National Judicial Institute for the promotion of this particular maritime seminar series. And we've had it for all of this while until the break that came in 2018 because of COVID. Now, let me speak very quickly, if you permit me, to why the series are important as far as the sector is concerned. You see, the International Maritime Seminar for Judges was founded actually on the premise of updating the knowledge of judicial officers, on the crux of admiralty law, but also actually to be able to assist government in the development of policy as far as the maritime issues are concerned. Not only is the Maritime Seminar Series able to impact in that way, we also have, the participation of members of the National Assembly. And as you know, if there's any reform as far as our laws are concerned, that is the agency, that's the institution that has the responsibility for reforming our legal system. So in our series, there is a participation of all stakeholders. This is the platform that draws all of the stakeholders. We're talking now about judges. We're talking also about particularly judges of our superior courts of record. We're talking, as I said, about members of the National Assembly. We're talking lawyers and indeed law practitioners and everybody who is a stakeholder in our maritime domain. So what we do with the seminar, essentially, therefore, is to generate an opportunity for discussions, so that there is a robust engagement. And in the course of that robust engagement, we have been able to achieve a number of milestones that have, that we've been able to, to develop in the course of the seminar series. Let me say, for instance, that if anybody today is happy about the cabotage law, for example, which is a policy of the Nigerian government put in place in order to allow for local participation of Nigerians in the shipping industry, that was actually one of the should I say, outcomes, an achievement that was recorded in one of the past seminars that we held. Today, the cabotage law maybe hasn't really achieved to the extent that we may have wished it because of some challenges with the implementation of the law. But the fact of the matter is that there is a legal framework and there's a policy pronouncement by the government, which emanated, so to speak, from one of the engagements of the seminar series that we held in the past.
Mr. Jime,
now, I've spoken about, the initiation of laws, policies.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, just as you noted, the maritime industry is very important to the economy. I mean, if anybody doubted that, the war in Ukraine and the disruption in activities in the Black Sea, clearly emphasizes that. So we do know how important the maritime industry is. And, well, from all you have enumerated, the seminar has been impactful to the industry. But we want to understand how this has translated to economic growth and development in this number of years that you've been having this seminar. Could you connect it, the seminar, and then the impacts on the economy?
As I indicated in one of my introductory remarks, so there are a number of legal reforms that are in place now that are a direct result of the impact of the seminar series. I've just first referred us to the cabotage law, which obviously has given Nigerians ample opportunity to now be able to participate, in the shipping sector of the economy in ways that could never have been achieved if that particular law had not been enacted. That is a direct consequence of, the impact of the seminar series. There's also today a law that we're processing in the National Assembly called the COGLA. That is the Carriage of Goods by Land Act, which has been processed in the National Assembly. Now, the reason why I mention this particular instrument is so I can bring to the notice of Nigerian shippers that for too long we have had a situation where the shipping companies did not feel comfortable in issuing true bill of lading in order for cargo, to be taken straight to inland ports where we have inland dry ports. Now, the efficacy of inland dry ports is to the extent that we have been able to get those ports declared as ports of origin and ports of destination, which then means that cargo coming from anywhere and anywhere on the globe will find its destination in a place like Kaduna, for example, or now that we have Kano, the Dala dry port in Kano coming on stream. Now, a shipper sitting in Kano can now simply transact his business with a shipping company and expect that his cargo will be delivered right at his doorsteps in Kano. But to be able to do that, you needed to give the shipping companies a protection that allows them to be able to extend this true bill of lading so that they're able to take and deliver cargo straight into such a place like the inland, dry ports. Now, that instrument will not be finding its place in our legal firmament, except for the fact that the International Law Seminar provided a platform for a discussion that led to the emergence of that platform. You're asking about the impact of the International Law Seminar. Let me tell you, first and foremost, the fact that we now have a judiciary that is up and doing, that is very well advised in terms of the knowledge base that it has gained, arising out of the interactions coming from the International Maritime Seminar Series. That means, first and foremost, that we're having effective adjudication of matters. We're also having timely adjudication of matters. And every businessman will tell you that time is money. And to the extent that you are able to get your disputes resolved very, very quickly, fastidiously, timeously, that clearly is an opportunity that saves a businessman a lot of money. because you're not then wasting too much time fighting matters inside, the law courts. So that also is an achievement, in my opinion, as to, the impact that the Maritime Seminar Series has brought to bear on the economy. Don't forget, a robust maritime industry also necessarily means that we're going to have huge employment opportunities for our teeming youth. Now, you and I know that perhaps one of the greatest challenges for our modern times is the fact that our youths are not gainfully being employed, which of course leads all manners of consequences, including of course cases of insecurity. And so if you're able to provide gainful employment for our youths, and you're taking people off the streets, the implication of that is that you're now reducing the incidence of insecurity in the polity, and then of course you are making our youth to be, of course, very, very useful to themselves, and of course useful to the society as well. So that is also an impact that I believe has arisen out of,
the seminar.
Sorry.
All right.
I thought you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you. I mean, the issue of unemployment, especially unemployment of the youths, I mean, can be traced to insecurity, which is one whose huge conversation that Nigeria needs to have and continues to have. Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Jime, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council. We do wish you the very best as your seminar begins formally tomorrow. And of course, we'll be waiting to feel the impact as it spreads to the economy. Enjoy the rest of your day.